From the biggest underwater ghost ship graveyard, the ghost shark, a giant eyeball, Jason Voorhees. Welcome to 30 mysterious, creepy, weird, and just scary as hell underwater discoveries. So imagine you and your friends decide to go to Lake Minnesota. You take a little dive. You're swimming through the water, just going by the nice fish. What a nice scene. Then all of a sudden, Jason Voorhees pops out of nowheres. Well, that's definitely a good possibility if you do decide to go diving here, because there's a real life look-alike statue of Jason Voorhees that's sure to scare the hell out of anybody if it pops up out of nowhere. As you'll see by the end of this list, there's all kinds of crazy statues underwater. Some are scary, some are creepy. This one's more of mysterious. But there's a giant circle made out of modern looking people in the bottom of the Caribbean Sea that are steel, and they kind of look ghostly, which gives them a really scary appearance, especially with a quick look. Not only things that have been found in the water are dangerous, there are several different things that the water does that can be very harmful and dangerous as well. There's rogue waves that are known to even take out whole cities, whirlpools that can even take down ships and tankers, and there's undertows. You're not even safe in lakes and rivers. You go swimming there, there's even undertows. In fact, I've had family member that actually got sucked under the water and lost his life due to an undertow. So you've got to be very careful even just swimming in the water. I suppose this man that was fishing in Siberia, Russia, had different plans when he ended up catching a bag that had 54 severed human hands in it. They eventually found out that these hands had came from a forensics lab that irresponsibly disposed of them, and they were found guilty and charged with the crime. Here's proof that you don't have to be in the middle of the ocean just to find something dangerous in the water. Divers are going into the city constantly and finding handguns, bombs, knives, all kinds of different possible murder weapons in shallow water, dams, quarries, things like that. They even go into like national parks and stuff like that, and they find all kinds of crazy weapons. This one here is pretty creepy, but imagine finding this in the woods instead of underwater. A giant eyeball. So that is pretty creepy, right? But to me, I think the scariest thing about this giant eyeball is they're unknown where it came from. They think that it could be a colossal squid or possibly even a megamouth shark. Chuk Lagoon is in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, but in World War II, the Japanese army used to use this area for base to dock their ships. For months they kept their ships there, their tugboats, their cruisers, and more. But in 1944, the naval base was destroyed by an American airstrike, destroying everything in the area. Now, Chuk Lagoon has now become the world's biggest ghost ship graveyard. Alright, this one was first around the water, but they found some in the water too. So in 1942, a British forest guard in Rupkund, India, made an alarming discovery. More than 3 miles above sea level, he stumbled across a frozen lake surrounded by hundreds of human skeletons. That summer, the melting ice revealed even more remains, floating up in the water, laying in the water, and around the lake's edges. Altogether, there was just hundreds and hundreds of skeletons and human remains, which would be terrifying to discover. What looks like an anaconda mated with a leech and came from a sci-fi movie that can climb waterfalls and sucks blood like a vampire? Oh, and it's a terrifying invasive species? The lamprey. That's right, the lamprey is one of the most terrifying creatures I've ever met. The electric manta ray, as we all know, It took our Australian TV father, Steve Irwin, and we all hate it for that. But besides that, it is a pretty cool creature. I just wouldn't want to go near it because it can definitely do some damage with its sting. The anglerfish is a beast. It's got a light that it lures in the other fish with, and then all of a sudden it gets engulfed in by its massive teeth. You know what I mean. You've seen it on Finding Nemo. But did you know that there is over 200 different species of the anglerfish, and they're all pretty unique in their own way? The barracuda is a nutty fish. They're like pretty big, and they're like basically a massive piranha that can rip you limb from limb. It's nuts. This little guy right here is probably the cutest little thing that you'll find on the list. But the blue ring octopus is poisonous as hell and will take your life quick as hell if you get out of pocket. So stay very far away from this thing. The great white shark, due to its sheer size, strength, and power. And we got both the rare Colossal Squid and megamouth shark. I could go on for hours about how many different scary animals there are, like the vampire squid and the goblin shark. But we'll have to end it off somewheres, so we're going to end it off with the rare and hardly seen but ghost shark. This is one of my favorite sharks just because how creepy it is. It's a really cool animal.